Well, that one got out of hand in a hurry. Stars had a 2-goal lead going into the third period tonight in Raleigh, and they end up losing 6-4 with an offensive onslaught by the Hurricanes. Dare I say, a storm surge. Ugh, I'm even grossed out saying it. Well, 6-4, the Stars lose. Let's get into it. Luddy's here. Sam will be here eventually. Maybe he'll be at another outdoor bar. We don't know. But this is the DLS Dallas Stars post-game show. Let's get right to it. Well, here we go. DLS Dallas Stars postgame show. Kind of a bummer one tonight because they lose. Their winning streak ends. Their road winning streak was a nice little run. Stars have been playing some, at least result-wise, decent hockey. And Luddy, as we break through this one, Craig Ludwig, John Anderson is our producer. I'm Owen Newkirk. Sam Nestler will be joining us later tonight in the postgame show. For 40 minutes tonight, it felt like the Stars were the better team, played a perfect road game, great strategy. It was working. And then it flipped in the third period.
Yeah, it felt like that the boring style. I felt they played a boring style, not really the style that they're typically playing. They were doing a little bit more pucks getting out of their zone, pucks into the offensive zone. And what it was doing, it was stopping the counterattacks and just the mad rushes that Carolina normally does. And I thought it slowed them down a little bit. Then once they got that 3-1 lead, it was like maybe they wanted to start trying to, push and get it to 4, which is nothing wrong with that. But they went about it, I felt like, in a different way. And then it all just kind of turned sideways on.
Well, let's break this down in the next 2 segments. We'll break it down into 2 halves. It'll be the first 2 periods, which were very good. And then we'll break down the third period, which was not so good. Okay, so beginning this one, it was as fast as you could imagine. 18 seconds in, the Stars scored. I mean, just blink of your eye stuff. It's the perfect way to start. As Seguin gets an easy tap in. Not the easiest goal he's ever had, but not much higher than that. His 8th of the year from Marchment and Duchesne, and it all happened as the Hurricanes just completely broke down as the Stars raced in, and Marchment whiffing on a really high degree of difficulty shot actually worked out really well.
It used to be high difficulty. Now I think every player tries it, the old between the leg one.
See the goal the other night in overtime in the Texas Stars game?
Yeah.
Cameron Hughes?
Yeah.
I thought it had a good training camp, good preseason, scored that sick goal on the top of the crease doing that same move.
Young guys are all trying it now. It's one way to get onto the YouTube highlights, I guess. Tyler was a recipient of that move, and the move went wrong, but it actually went right for the Stars. And if there's a way that you want to take a crowd and the players out of the game early, that's how you do it. And Tyler was Johnny on the spot right there.
Well, the Hurricanes were their own worst enemy to start this one. Too many men on the ice penalty, just 2 minutes and 37 seconds in. Then they took a delay of game puck over the glass penalty at 5:31 of the first period. So 2 penalties in the first 5.5 minutes. Stars didn't do a whole lot with the first power play. They had a great chance, and I mean a super high danger. Redirection by Marchment at the crease. All he has to do is hit the 6 foot wide.
There was too much there to shoot at.
The pass went around Spencer Martin, the Carolina goalie, and all he has to do is get it between the posts. And he actually redirected it back across and past the left post. I don't know how he didn't score.
I was just going to say, it's kind of hard to do that. And, again, you got the whole bottom of the net wide open, and next thing you know, it's going a couple inches past the far post.
He had 24 square feet of open net, 4x6.
6 times 4, 24. Got it. Yeah.
Could not hit it.
Yep.
And that was tough because then Carolina races down the other way, and they get a shorthanded goal. Seth Jarvis from Sebastian Aho. And they tied it at 1, and that came at 6:36, and it was literally on the back end of that chance. And look, I know we've said this before, and we'll say it again. When you get panicky defensively, you do dumb things, and the Stars did not handle that rush shorthanded chance well.
No, and it was Miro on the way back along the wall, and I think what you have to do is if it was kind of 2-on-1.5. And I believe it was Stankoven that was on his way back, which I was impressed with because as the rush, the entry went up the ice and the puck got turned over about the top of the circle blue line area in the offensive zone. Stankoven was the second guy into the zone, and it made it all the way back to end up being that back checker. But ultimately, what you have to do as a defenseman there, you've got to check over your shoulder, make sure that that back checker has the guy that's going to the net. Miro didn't do that. I think he just assumed that Stankoven was going to be there to pick him up. He didn't, and it ended up being it was a bit of a lucky goal because Jarvis got it, and then he pulls it over to his left, and it kind of went back against the grain on Jake.
But they got it. 1-1. Got him into the game a little bit, but only for about 4 minutes because then Thomas Harley scored his second of the year on a really nice shot. It started with Miro Heiskanen in his own zone defensively. Jamie Benn with a great hold-up play, kind of stall tactic to allow teammates to come in, and then he finds Harley. But there were a couple of layers to this goal.
Yeah, well, the first one was inside the zone when Miro, maybe he played a little baseball when he was younger there because or golf. I don't know.
You should ask Sean the next time he's on the show about Finnish baseball. It's called Pesapallo, and it's the weird. Have you ever seen it?
No, I've never heard of that either.
Oh my God, we have some videos to show you. You'd love it, but it makes no sense because they have bases, but it's not in a diamond, and you kind of run all over the place. And the pitcher stands and lobs it up from home plate.
Maybe that's why he plays that way sometimes, kind of all over the place.
I wonder if he's ever played Pesapallo. I don't know.
Well, anyway,
and I'm sure my pronunciation of the Finnish word is perfect.
So anyway. there was great hand-eye coordination that ultimately got it out of just inside the Star zone. When Jamie gets across the offensive blue line, he recognized there's numbers. He's got no space to get around anybody, so he pulls up, ultimately makes the pass across, but to Harley. But what really made that play happen for me was Miro getting up because everything was off on the left-hand side where Jamie Benn was. And when Miro came into the picture, their high forward kind of took Miro, kind of looked at Miro as he got up to that offensive blue line, which opened up a lane across to Harley. And we've seen Harley, when he gets into that slot area, he's got a hell of a shot, and he put it in the right spot on that one. But I think I really thought that the reason that all opened up like that, and again, it was another one of them backhand passes like Duchesne did a couple nights earlier, all the way across, from one side of the rink to almost just past middle ice. That was a perfect pass for Harley. But if Miro doesn't get up there, I don't think that player can cheat a little bit to him because that would have been where you would think Jamie was going to go to hit Miro, and he doesn't. He bypasses him. Harley finishes it off.
Really good play for Harley, and it would benefit the Stars quite a bit if Harley can start to put the puck in the net like he did last year for that stretch. It wasn't all season. There was plenty of time where he fought it, including in the playoffs. And that's why I don't think his contract offer this year was as big as some might have thought it was. But good goal. Want to see more from him. End of the period, it's 2-1 Stars. They had one more high danger where Matt Duchesne split the defense, got a shot off. Good save by Martin. Another high danger at the other end was Jack Drury. Had a wide open one-timer from the low slot. Good save by Ottinger. Letty, at the end of the period, 6-5 shots on goal in favor of the Stars. That's it. I had scoring chances at 10-4. Remember, a scoring chance doesn't necessarily mean to be on goal. But go through this whole game. They need to do a full audit of the shots on goal tracker in Lenovo Arena or Lenovo Center because it was criminal how bad. I mean, they got the wrong guys on the score sheet. They had shots that missed the net count as shots. They had shots that went that were on goal that said they were wide. I mean, just it was minor league stuff from the stats day. I know you don't care.
I don't pay attention to that stuff. You should.
That's my purview, and it was just making me annoyed, so I should leave it alone. So you go to the second period, and Tyler Seguin gets a breakaway all alone in front of the net right away. Could have been two in the same moment right in that. So they're still up 2-1. And then talk about this for a 2-goal swing. Jackson Blake gets in all alone, hits the left post on a 2-on-0. Really a 1-on-0 because he had a trailer, but he was never passing that. And then all of a sudden you go down the other end, and Seguin from Duchesne sets up Marchment for a tap-in. It's Marchment's 7th of the year. Seguin gets his 10th assist. Duchesne gets his 14th. And at 7:13 of the second period, the Stars are up 3-1. All three of those guys played an important role in that goal.
Duchesne did the most because that puck, when it gets in, it chips in by Tyler. Tyler put the puck in the zone, and he just blows right past Seguin. It looked like Seguin was standing still. He was the one that got in on the forecheck.
It looked like he was skating in quicksand or something.
It did, especially on that one there. He looked a little slow, and he took his first couple strides, and he didn't take off like you normally see the jump out of him. So, but Duchesne, He flies in, turns the puck over. Tyler's following it up, and that's when Tyler comes around the back and makes a beautiful pass. And there's that tap in. Marchman didn't miss that one.
No, he did in the first on the power play, but not in the second. You mentioned Seguin. He missed 3 games early in the season due to injury. He came back in the lineup. He's only missed 1 game since. It was that back-to-back in Finland.
Yep.
There's a back-to-back coming up in a week. I would imagine he's probably not playing that. But you saw that play. They said he's got to manage something. Does that look like he's managing it?
It's funny after that goal too. When Tyler showed you when he kind of went up against the wall and it was awkward for him. So
like he wasn't comfortable.
Yeah, perfect way to describe it. He didn't look comfortable right there. But I'll tell you what, there's other times when he's skating and he looks like he's flying. It was just that one moment there that when I went back and looked at it again, there was no burst out of him at that time.
And you've played plenty of games where you were in 100%, I'm sure.
I never had a burst, though.
Fair enough.
You could never tell if I was skating slower than normal.
I've played plenty of beer league games, and when you're dealing with something, everything's is a little bit more ginger, isn't it?
Yeah, you got to give the guys credit, though. What stays clear, and somehow you have to find a way to put it out. And, Tyler, if there is anything wrong with him that's lingering right now, but he's able to do everything else, that because I think he's been really, really good, especially with that line. It's hard to separate one from the other.
His ability to play in spite of his physical detriments reminds me of somebody.
Who's that?
Joe Pavelski.
We caught him off guard.
We got him. That's one for us.
It's sitting right in front of you, bellboy.
Right in front of him. Hit all the bells. Bang, bang, bang.
Yeah, I got I'm looking here in the chat. I'm looking over there, checking other stuff.
You're doing a lot for
You're
us.
supposed to be able to multitask. That's why you get the big bucks here.
Boy, Luddy, late in the period, the Stars could have made it 4. Evgeny Dodonov had a point-blank chance at the top of the crease from Sam Steele. And again, Seguin at the beginning of the period, Dodonov at the end of the period. Either one of those goes in. Stars are up 4-1, but still 3-1 over the Hurricanes after 2 periods of play. That's exactly, if you had said that before the game, they go, oh, we're going to win this hockey game. That's a great position to be in.
Yeah, and that's when I felt, there was, it seemed like they were changing a little bit, the Stars were. And all of a sudden, them pucks that were going deep, there were starting to be plays that were made, and they turned over, and I think they gave Carolina a little life.
The shots after 2 periods were 19-13 Hurricanes. They had a slight edge in shot attempts, 36-29. But when you think about it, overall, Stars had more scoring chances. They had the really important one, high danger. I had 7-3 Dallas through 2 periods. So they had better high-quality chances. It felt like, and the Stars hadn't taken a penalty through 2 periods. They kept the Hurricanes' power play, which, again, we talked about in the pregame show as their special teams really good. They came in ranked 7th in the league, but they had scored in 6 of their last 8 games on the power play. Pretty dangerous. And they nullified it. They nullified the pressure by getting the puck out. They kept them off the board because of not taking a penalty.
You're speaking too soon.
Well, I'm doing that because we're about to turn into the second half of this post-game recap, which is the 3rd period, which we'll get to next right here on the DLLS Dallas Stars post-game show. All right, let's talk about Sleeper. It's best fantasy league platform out there. Put your puck knowledge to the test by picking whether your favorite or least favorite players will have more or less than their projected stats each week. For tonight, Kings and Sharks just getting underway. Let's go with Macklin Celebrini. He's not going to catch Logan Stankoven, but I will pick more than 0.5 points tonight. With Sleeper, the more picks you combine, the more you can win, all the way up to 100 times your money. Sleeper keeps you in the loop with instant alerts for breaking news and major injuries. Stay ahead of the game and keep track of league updates in real time so you're always informed and ready to outsmart your friends. If you think you have what it takes, download the Sleeper app and use the code DLLSSTARS to get up to a $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. Currently operational in over 25 states. Check out Sleeper today. Now we talk about Empire Today. With Empire Today, it's just simply the best place to get new flooring. You can get shop and home convenience, the right product for your needs, quick and professional installation, and a low price guarantee. Remember the other night? We're doing the post-game show. Stars beat the Tampa Bay Lightning. It was Saturday night. Sam's in Tampa. Luds is finishing off a delicious bottle of Herman Marshall, and he just flips it, lands on the floor, doesn't break, floor doesn't scuff, doesn't dent, just perfect. Looks great out there still, and it can handle those hits, even from a heavy-duty bottle like those Herman Marshall ones. But this is an Empire Today commercial, so use your virtual floor designer, see what it looks like in your home. Schedule a free in-home estimate today. All listeners can receive a $350 off discount when they use the code, and it's a promo code, DLLS. Restrictions apply. See empiretoday.com/DLLS for details. So you said I spoke too soon. Right. So that was the first half, and it was 2 periods, but it's all going really well for the Stars. Well, let's flip over to the third period and see what happens. Oh, Luds.
Turn the page.
It didn't look so good, did it? Well, you're when you have a 2-goal lead, we were talking about this, trying to remember what game it was now, where the Stars had to come back. It was against Anaheim, right? Got to get an early goal. So you're not chasing a multi-goal deficit late in the game. So what does Carolina do? 1 minute and 10 seconds into the third period. Stars actually had a carryover power play because right at the last minute of the second period, the Hurricanes took their second too many men on the ice penalty of the game. This one was a real boneheaded one by Andrei Svechnikov, who jumped onto the ice, made a play on the puck, and then hopped back on the bench as if he thought, oh, well, that will get me. It's like, after
he made a play on the puck.
After he made a play on the puck.
After the guy's got his arm in the air.
It's like at that point, you might as well just keep playing because it's as soon as you
might as well just head to the box.
Yeah, well, that they did, but the Stars didn't make them pay. And 2 seconds after the power play expired, Aho scored from Seth Jarvis.
Yeah, the puck gets fired in, and it was a soft dump in. And Jake goes out to play the puck to try to get it to continue to go around the wall. And he didn't get it all. It was a soft play. And so it ends up staying over off to Jake's left. And then Thomas Harley decides to go, and then he makes the right decision because there's somebody else coming down, down the middle of the ice. And I didn't like the way that he played the 2-on-1 for sure. But it was more about Jake's initial play. Normally he's really good with the puck and he makes easy plays. And so, but it happens. He's not always going to be clean. But then when Harley's got the opportunity to play a 2-on-1, I'm still not sure what he was trying to do because it ultimately, some people are going to look at it and say, oh, it was kind of lucky because it went between his legs. But even if it went under, he wouldn't have gotten under a stick either. He didn't put himself in a good position to play a 2-on-1.
So he looked more like a croquet wicket than he did a wall trying to block. So from a defenseman who's standing on top of the crease or in the low slot and trying to deny that, what should he have done to try to take up more space than what he did?
Well, he could have done anything but what he did. I mean, once the puck carrier is over there and he's not in a dangerous spot where he is, you kind of leave him and you start taking the passing lane. And even if you go down and you go down off the back post because that's where the player is that's coming in that's wide open, that pass probably isn't getting through. But when you go down to one knee and you got one skate that way and you're facing your own net and you got your stick down, I think he expected the puck to go between him and Oettinger. And so I think that's why he tried to play it the way he did, but it wasn't pretty.
Do you like going down to one knee, or do you think that takes a defenseman away from moving?
I would never. The only time I went down to one knee if somebody's coming straight at me and I can block the shot so I can get up and not necessarily go, but get up and get into the play again. But if I'm going to go down, I'm going all the way down. And I'll just try to take the passing lane completely away. And sometimes in that, there's going to be the odd one that'll hit you and it's going to go in the net. But if you turn your body and you kind of slant your legs so they're away from the net, there's a better chance that it stays with you and it'll go past the net and into the corner. But regardless, whatever Thomas did, no bueno.
Well, the Stars started to get hemmed in, and Carolina really picked it up. The building got going. And you started to see some of the pressure we talked about before the game finally being exerted by Carolina immediately after. And they had chances. Svechnikov, Jarvis, Aho, Gostisbehere, all in the same sequence. They couldn't get the puck out. And then it goes back to Brent Burns. And Brent Burns gets his first goal of the year at 3:43 as his shot beats Oettinger. I think he was screened on the play. But overall, just their inability to clear the zone really came back to haunt them in its tie game.
Yeah, it did. And that's really what you have to focus on is the puck that didn't leave the zone. And the reaction from Jake after that, and it's hard to tell. I'm never going to, again, until you're in between his mask, you don't really know what he sees. There's one angle that I thought he could see off to his right and look at it, and it just kind of caught him off to his right. But it was his reaction, the dejected reaction. And I think it stems from the goal prior. And I think that was still in his head a little bit because he didn't look the same in the last couple goals that went in.
Well, It was 3-3. They traded some chances. Actually, the Stars got a couple going, a couple of redirection, sort of settle things down. And we had a media timeout. And I looked over at you and I said something kind of dumb. It wasn't my fault. I didn't jinx this. But I said, remember early in the season when Marchment took a couple of bad penalties? He's really cleaned that up out of his game. And off a face-off, what does he do? He takes a dumb penalty.
That was an effort penalty, though. The puck goes to the wall, and the player that he's lined up against, he's trying to hold up a little bit. And when he reaches with his stick, which probably wasn't going to stop the guy anyways, it ultimately clips him. So
you mentioned effort penalty, different than lazy penalty, because he's trying to do the right thing, even if he's not in control of his stick and probably a little sloppy. But at least it's not where you go, oh man, if it just moved your legs a little bit, you wouldn't have taken that.
Well, those are the lazy penalties, and I didn't look at this as a lazy penalty. I blame it on you that you should have never said anything. It's kind of like saying shutout, right, with 3 minutes to go in a game. But yeah, it was a penalty. He was trying to get as much as he could to try to keep the puck in the zone or at least slow the player down, and unfortunately, he clips him a little bit.
Well, we hadn't seen the Carolina power play all night. All of a sudden, we do, and they score as Shane Gostisbehere rips one home at 8:09. He's been very good on the power play, as that's sort of his specialty from the blue line, and he's wide open in the high slot. Now picks his corner, but there's no lane, there's no traffic. It's just simply he beats Jake high glove. It's a great shot.
Yeah, the only thing I said about Gostisbehere in the pregame show is he's got a great shot. I mean, he's an offensive defenseman. Where he came out of the chute early as a young player when he got into the league, and he was doing a lot, and then he became kind of one-dimensional, more of a power play guy, and with the shot, and that's kind of what he's been known for, and he displays it right there. I mean, he's wide open in the slot. There's too much room. Penalty killers do get too far and wide apart that he can walk right down the middle of the ice, and it just beat Jake clean. And again, we've seen Jake make that save before, so I'm going back. I'm giving him the credit here a little bit. I think that one play by him kind of rattled him a little bit.
Well, it's up 2 goals to go into the third. They give up 3, the Stars do, in 8 minutes. So it's a complete turnaround, and now Carolina's on the front foot. They have the lead, but we saw 2 grade A chances being traded. Jack Roslovic had a 2-on-1 wrister from the left circle that Ottinger came up with a huge glove save. So on the heels of giving up that goal, he comes back and makes a big glove save. And I'll say this 100 times about Jake. I think one of his best attributes, aside from his natural size and athleticism, is his mental ability to stay in it.
To shake it off.
Yes. And not get rattled.
Well, it was 2 goals late.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
But he makes the glove save, and then Rope Hintz has a breakaway. And Spencer Martin, who we were kind of expecting to be maybe the weak link for them tonight, came up with a really important save.
Really big save. And I had said after that first goal in the first minute and a half of the game, it was going to be a long night for him because his goals against was 3.5 a game coming into that, and save percentage was like .886. So you expected to be a long night for him, especially against Dallas and when they get some power play opportunities. But he ultimately ended up pulling his game together.
Under 6 minutes to go in the game, the Stars get it back, and they do it off a face-off win by Wyatt Johnston. Miro Heiskanen scores his 4th of the season. This came at 14:46. And let's 2 things. One, it's a great shot from Miro, absolutely sizzling one. And that's 2 goals from defensemen tonight, was something that early this year, now we're at the 20-game mark, they weren't getting a lot of contributions from the back end.
Yeah, and there's 2 things I wrote down about that goal in Miro. And the first thing was he loves going short side now, and he's going short side high. He's got confidence in that shot. And again, coming in on the left side, that's what he's like to shoot at. The other thing is I said Zubov-like. And the only reason I mean that is Miro can shuffle his feet, and he can seem to pick up speed when he doesn't take his skates off the ice. And Zuby was one of them guys, he could pick up speed going east-west, and Miro does the very same thing as he starts to come around the corner. He's got that wide base, and he shuffles a little bit, and he seems to create enough space between him and a defender to be able to pull that shot off.
So about 5 minutes to go, the game's tied. It's been a good game. Frustrated, the Stars coughed up a 2-goal lead going into the third period, but they've got it to 4-4, saying this is 2 really good teams just in a slugfest. Kind of looking like it's either next shot wins or overtime on the horizon, which I think in hindsight, of course, Dallas would take in a heartbeat because they don't get anything out of this one. But it's a penalty. 16:35, so 3.5 minutes to go roughly. Wyatt Johnston gets called for high sticking. Second high sticking penalty of the game, of the period, and Carolina makes them pay. At first, you thought it was going to be a 4-minute double minor. Marty Necas wasn't bleeding, but and it's funny because when he went down, he looked like he got shot by a high-powered rifle, and we almost wondered if he might have been embellishing, but he definitely got clipped with a stick up high.
Apparently, he was okay, wasn't he?
He was totally fine, though. There's the difference between hitting a stick and the head toss and the legs go down. But, and I hate to say this, but it works in soccer too. Honest players don't always get the calls from the referee. They have to embellish. They don't have to. They choose to because they get rewarded more times than they get punished.
Yeah, unfortunately. And on the goal, there we go.
Marty Necas. And you know what?
By
the way, the guy that's okay.
The guy that's fine.
Yeah.
And he sold it really nice, didn't he? We thought he poked his eye out when it happened. But what Necas thought, that power play, Dallas did a good job because it stayed on the perimeter. They couldn't get anything interior. I think Necas, even if ultimately what happened is Lyubushkin makes the right play, he tries to get it in the lane, and it hits the skate and it goes in the net. But Necas was actually trying to make a pass to the other side of the net on that one. He was going to fake the shot and he was going to go across. Lyubushkin turns, and Lyubushkin right away knew it because he cracks his stick over the top of the net. And again, it happens to all players. And you're in the right lane, you're doing the right thing. You could probably do that, 10 times, and maybe one or two of them, it happens.
You wouldn't do anything different there.
No, you wouldn't do anything different than that. He made the right play, and again, sometimes that happens, and usually it happens when you're shorthanded and you're trying to take away the bottom of the ice.
That was 2 power play goals in the third period for the Hurricanes, and ultimately was why they won the game, because if the Stars kill that one off, you're looking at least overtime. And again, extend the point streak. But Carolina's been really, really good. This team, they started the year 2-2 and then won 8 in a row. And they haven't really looked back. I know they've had a couple of overtime point losses in the last little bit, but really, really, really tough team to play against.
What I should have said, too, and I want to defend Lyubushkin again, is what you're trying to do is you're trying to take away that cross-ice pass. You don't want it going through the seam. And that's what you do, is you take up as much space as you can, and that's why you turn your skates that way. Because there's probably people out there that are thinking, well, what the hell are you turning your skate that way? Because if it hits it, it's going to go in. It's a more dangerous play when it gets across the ice and your goaltender doesn't have an opportunity. And the other thing you got to think about, that goalie is on the same side as Necas. He's making the pass. So a lot of times when it hits the skate, it's going to hit the goaltender anyways. This time it just didn't.
Bad luck. They take a 5-4 lead. Stars pull Oettinger for the extra attacker. They did not generate a scoring chance 6-on-5. Now, they had a couple goals this year, 6-on-5, but tonight, Carolina really didn't give them much of anything. Was there anything that stood out to you in that little stretch? It felt like the Stars were fighting that toward the end to try to get anything interior.
First off, they tighten things up. They take away the shooting lanes, but then they don't just stand there. They put pressure. Then they bring pressure from the inside out. So if there's anything that you're going to do, you're probably going to have to go down in the corner around the wall or something like that. But you know that the guys that are on the 6-on-5 are trying to do everything they can to get pucks to the net, especially as that clock is ticking. When you're down like that by a goal, the clock becomes your enemy. And as that team that's defending, you want to keep things on the perimeter because you know eventually they're going to have to try to slide something through there, and you're just taking away the good areas of the ice.
Well, they can't get anything going to try to tie it, and then Andrei Svechnikov scores an empty netter with about 15 seconds to go, and that is all she wrote. A 6-4 Carolina win at home. So the Stars dropped their 7th of the year. They're 13-7, 5-5 on the road, and Carolina continues their hot start at home. They're 8-1 at Lenovo Center. They've been playing a lot on the road. 7-4-1 away from that. It's just their 9th game of 21 at 9th at home out of 21. 15-5-1, and they're up to 31 points. They're gonna be a force this year, as you can see. Rod has them playing well.
I was just gonna say we should probably say something about the head coach, because after that second period, they came out like a different team in the third period. So Rod Brendamore is the kind of coach that the players love. He's a fiery guy and doesn't stand still back there. And I think they all respect him. So how he goes about his business in the locker room, I'm not sure if he's a yeller, screamer, get in your face kind of guy, or just talks to him. But
at some point he has that in him,
yeah.
right?
And again, I think the smart coaches, they save it, because the ones that pop off every other period and things like that, it gets to be old.
Yep.
And so I think whatever he did, and again, like I said, I think there's a ton of respect there. And so however he got to his players between the second and third, it paid off for him.
Up next, we'll talk to Sam Nestler live in Raleigh as the Hurricanes beat the Stars 6-4 tonight at Lenovo Center. This is the DLLS Dallas Stars postgame show. Let's talk about Shady Rays. Unfortunately, I didn't bring them tonight because it's dark and I don't always wear sunglasses at night, and I'm not going to start singing either, but you should get ready for the season ahead and the season we have with quality shades built to last. Our friends at Shady Rays have you covered with premium polarized shades that won't break the bank. It's an independent sunglasses company, which is important because many sunglasses are all sorts of different brands are actually owned by one big one. We'll get away from that for now, but they have been offering world-class products, Shady Rays, with 5-star ratings, over 300,000 people. They have durable frames, crystal clear optics, making them the perfect choice for all outdoor activities. And guess what? I still want to rub it in with Luds, who hasn't gotten his pair yet. So I went the other day and I ordered 2 more pairs. I'm not kidding you. And I used the code exclusively for our listeners, DLLS. Go to shadyrays.com, use the code DLLS for 35% off polarized sunglasses. Try for yourself the shades rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people. Now let's talk about game time. Look, this game tonight was disappointing, but that doesn't mean you don't want to go to another live sporting event or concert, theater show. What am I missing? Anything. Go use Game Time. Game Time picks make getting tickets for your favorite live events even easier. Music is what I was saying. I always said comedy show. That's the one I couldn't remember. Game Time picks filters out all the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. Curated things, you can toggle a feature for all-in pricing so you'd never surprised by fees when you go to checkout, plus great seat views before you pick your tickets. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use the code DLLS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem the code DLLS for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Hey, Luds, what time is it?
Time for you to order me some sunglasses. Game time.
All right. Look who it is. It's the other member of our crew tonight. It's the great Sam Nestler. Sam, your record has been blemished. On the road now 1-1. First thoughts after tonight's game in Raleigh?
Yeah, a couple words thrown around so far: disaster and self-inflicted wounds. And that's how it feels. I mean, honestly, first reaction, that's a tough one, right? That's a gut punch, even for us. I'm sure for you guys, that's one that felt very much like a team that deserved 1 or 2 points. They find a way to tie it again, and you just get a point in this game after what happened in that third period, and you're feeling pretty good with a chance to go get 2 points in Chicago and leave with what 5 of 6. So it's a really tough way to lose this game, and it's just self-inflicted wounds, man. That you look at the special teams, and that's pretty much all you have to look at for this one.
I know it's hard for people in the moment to look at it and have the perspective, but it wasn't that long ago, Sam, where the Stars going on a road trip through the Southeast, whether it was playing the Panthers or the Lightning, or the Lightning and the Hurricanes, many times came away with nothing to show for it. So the fact that they're disappointed they didn't get more than 2 out of 4 points shows how much progress this team's made over the last few years.
Absolutely. I mean, even now, they still go to Chicago and beat a team they should beat, and you get 4 out of 6. It's just, you always look at it as, all right, if they came out and Carolina controlled this game, maybe the Stars couldn't convert or whatever it might have been, that's a little bit different. But you have a 3-1 lead entering the third period. You like your 5-on-5 play. If you don't do what they did special teams wise, power play and penalty kill, they probably walk out of here with at least 1 point, if not 2. So it's just the way the game went, I think, that really has them feeling disappointed. And we'll see now, though. The Stars have been great at answering, right? You got to find a way now to go get 2 points, and that's what the focus shifts to.
I understand, Luds, that special teams is a big part of this third period, but they gave up the 2 goals that tied it at 3, 5-on-5. Is it all about special teams?
Well, when you say special teams, I mean, how often do we say it's goaltending and special teams?
Yeah.
And it's one of them tonight. So, I mean, they needed to score another one on their power play, and they needed to take one away on their PK. And so, but again, you can probably go back to that first part when I say goaltending, because again, it's weird because tonight, before we did this show, John and I did this little skit. I don't know where it goes, if it goes to Google up in space.
It is going on the DLS Sports YouTube channel at 8 a.m. tomorrow.
Probably
Okay.
to the moon or
I don't
Mars
know
or
where
beyond.
that is, but
You don't know. That's what you work for.
Okay.
That's like this entire thing we do is for that YouTube channel.
Where is it going again?
YouTube.
Oh, it's going to YouTube?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
He knows what YouTube is.
Anyway, Sam, you know what I did tonight? Apparently, it's going to be on YouTube tomorrow morning at, 9 o'clock your time.
Nope.
8 Central?
Yeah, 8 Central.
Yeah,
9
so
o'clock
he's
Sam's
right.
time. I'm right.
Sam's in Eastern time.
9
He's
o'clock.
right.
Sam's over there.
Okay. Okay.
I got
understand you have low
I'll
confidence in him,
take
but he
that
got
one.
I have a clock in my head all the time. I am aware of time. But what I was talking about, Sam, I was talking about the backbone of this team this year, and it's the goaltender, Jakeoettinger. And so I pumped him up, I think, enough, and we didn't even do it publicly yet, but it was just one of them nights. Again, I don't know how the feeling was there, Sam, and you watching. I was saying earlier, I don't know if you were listening, probably not, but I thought that goal that got past Jake, or that he tried to fire around the boards, and that 2-on-1 that Harley, I thought that was that was
a shorthanded goal.
Yeah, the shorty there where he tried to move the puck around the wall, and I don't think he got it all. I thought that was a little deflating for Jake personally.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I think that Jake he wasn't the difference. I wouldn't say he was the only reason they were up 3-1, but the Carolina outshot him like 14-8, 14-7, and it looked like even more than that in the second period. So Jake was huge for them, but the key was that he made the saves at the right moments, right? And Spencer Martin didn't, and that's why that game was 3-1. The Stars were not creating a ton 5-on-5, but what they were doing was not allowing a ton. I think they had like 6 shots when I looked up, almost at the end of the first period.
I'm going to stop you right there.
Uh-oh, you're in trouble.
You're in trouble.
You're
not. This is not your fault. You've been misled by horrible stats taking by the off-ice crew in Carolina. And this is not on you, Sam, because the Stars, Josh and Razor on the broadcast were talking about this, going, wow, the Dallas doesn't have a lot of shots. They had as many scoring chances as Carolina did in the second period, and they were all at 5-on-5. They had more high-danger chances than Carolina did in the second period. But I'm telling you, as I was watching these and checking, and Leds is like, the actual tabulation of what was and wasn't a shot was very inconsistent. So don't be fooled. It wasn't as one-sided as it may have looked on the scoreboard.
Right. Yeah. Either way, they were pushing. Right. It wasn't the same as the first period where Dallas was really locking them down, not creating a whole lot. Like I said, Dallas wasn't creating a ton in the first period, but what they were doing was creating enough and converting on those chances. And then on the flip side, they just weren't giving up a whole lot. And when they did, Jakeoettinger made some really big saves, but he wasn't having to scramble a ton. He wasn't having to peek through a lot of traffic. And then towards the end of that second period and in the third, all of that started to change. He started to really struggle with traffic. He started to have to look through. He wasn't making clean saves. He was giving up a few rebounds. So the game definitely started to shift. But what was interesting, I asked Pete DeBoer, what did you want to see different? Pete talks a lot about how you don't control 60 minutes in today's NHL, especially against a team like the Carolina Hurricanes. You're just not going to dominate them for 60 minutes. And he actually said it wasn't necessarily a push from Carolina. It was self-inflicted wounds. It was, if you look in the first period, Dallas had a chance to put that game away, right? Mason Marchment taps in that open net, and we got a 2-0 game. They're pushing. They have a chance to go up even more. Flip side, it goes back, and now it's 1-1 with a shorthanded goal, and it just changed all the momentum. And I think either way, Pete was saying we're up 3-1, right? So no matter what you look at in the first 2 periods, they're still up 3-1. So you have to find a way to win that game when you're up 3-1 in the third period. As simple as that. And Dallas, I know you said it was at 5-on-5, but that basically a shorthanded goal. They scored 5 seconds after that.
2 seconds.
That power play expired. Yeah, 2. So
that's
essentially
they're essentially Jake rimmed didn't go well.
Yeah. Essentially,
that's kind of what I was leading. That's how I was leading you into this conversation. If you forgot, it's been so long. I know.
No, I remember because Owen yelled at me about the shot, so we had to deflect.
I didn't yell at you. I yelled at the universe. You were just in the way. It's not your fault.
Yeah,
trust me.
No, but really, it was essentially -4, I think, on special teams. If you count that one as a shorthanded goal, they go 0 for 3 on the power play. They give up 2 shorthanded goals, and they give up 2 power play goals.
Technically, you give them an empty netter, that's -5.
Yeah, so it could be -5, and that's just not good enough. You got -2, -3. That's already bad. You get it all the way to 4 and 5, and you're just not going to win that game. And Pete said the special teams was a disaster. He said he liked the 5-on-5 play, which we just talked about. It was pretty even. They looked good. They were finding ways to control the game, and special teams, just a disaster. But I got to say, I want to give a little bit of credit to this team because I wrote on Twitter, I think it was right when Carolina took the lead, and I said we're going to get a good look at what this team's made of right now because that was adversity on top of adversity, right? You feel good about yourself, and all of a sudden, bam, 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 3 goals. The crowd was going crazy. This crowd was quiet until that point, really quiet. And I had heard how loud this place could get, and then I heard it when they scored that 3rd goal and that 4th goal, and that's a huge test. And they find a way. Miro Heiskanen finds a way to score, and they once again should have gotten at least to overtime with that goal. So I do give them a little bit of credit to be able to come back against a really good team in a tough arena, but you got to find a way to get all the way to the end. And it's a bad bounce, right? I know you just talked about Lyubushkin, Luds. It's a tough play. I don't know if you fault anyone for that. It might just be one of those things where you get a tough bounce that goes against you and you're not able to recover.
So you notice this team is strong enough to deal with adversity. They've been good on the road, even last year. So a loud building, a call goes against you. The special teams isn't great. That's not something that this team hasn't overcome before. Last year, Dallas was one of the best teams that's coming back from multi-goal deficits in the third. They just felt like, honestly, you say a gut punch. I don't feel like this is the worst loss the Stars have ever had. And oh my God, we had that. And remember last year when the Stars scored 2 goals in the final 7 seconds in Nashville and stole a game that they were going to lose, and then boom, boom, and it was in. Or do you remember the game in New York against the Rangers where it looked like Jake was going to get a shutout? Then the Rangers tie it with a blink, and then all of a sudden they've lost a game they were going to have a shutout victory. Those are gut punches. This one, look, we've been kind of saying, lads, this is a team that has its warts, and they're working through it.
Well, yeah, and Sam, what I was saying is there's teams you have to play road games sometimes too, and depending on who the opponent is. And the opponent has an MO, they've got an identity. And they play north, they play fast, they direct everything to the puck. I thought Dallas, through a period and a half, maybe a period and 3/4, they nullified that by just getting pucks out of their zone, putting pucks into their zone. And so they pretty much took a little bit of the steam out of those guys, because every time they wanted to go north and you would cut a puck off, you didn't try to pick a pass off. Or you know what I'm saying? Like, it was just more of an ugly, dumbed down kind of game. And then they were getting the chances. And then I thought that when they got up by 3 goals, the game changed a little bit in the offensive zone. It changed a little bit at the offensive blue line. And now there was a couple pucks that did get turned over. That was, the transition game. They went back a couple times, 3-on-2. They went back 4-on-3, and they got some steam out of it before the end of the second period. And then we saw what happened in the, and like you said about that goal that goes off a skate, that just happens. I mean, that's part of the way I explained it. I was just talking about it before you came on. I said, the one thing you don't want is a penalty killer. You don't want that puck going through the seam. So you turn your skates to make sure it doesn't go through the seam. And every once in a while, there's the odd one that goes in. But that pass comes from the same side of the ice that Jake Oettinger was on. It didn't direct to the other side of the net. So, and I'm not blaming that on Jake. I'm just saying those kind of things happen when you're trying to kill a penalty at times. And 5-on-5.
You're absolutely right too with the words you're using, Luds. You use ugly. That's exactly what this game felt like. Mike Heika turned to me at one point and he just said, "This is a really weird, ugly game," and it really was. But what do you want to do on the road, Luds? Right? That's exactly what you want. You want ugly. You want simple, and that's what I asked a bunch of players this morning after morning skate. How do you beat a team that's so good at home? How do you beat a team? How do you get a team off its game that starts so well, especially at home? And every answer included something about simple hockey. Just chip it in, because you're right, Luds. If you turn a puck over, the momentum doesn't come from a team going back, chasing, and going 200 feet. Rarely is that how a team really starts to build momentum and turn shifts over a shift. It's when you turn the puck over at your own blue line. It's when you turn it over in the neutral zone. And oftentimes it's when you turn it over at the offensive blue line, like you just said. And you're absolutely right. They did that way too many times. And all of a sudden Carolina just started going, right? And they started changing, and you started to feel it, and you started to feel that buzz. And that is exactly what they wanted to avoid. But the key, I think, for them is find a way to stop it once it starts. right? Once that ball gets rolling, once they start to get even when they start to get two, don't let it become three, don't let it become four, don't let it become five, whatever else happened. And that's what they just were not able to do. But Luds, you're right on. They played a simple game through period and a half, maybe even a little bit more, and then it started to get a little bit less simple, and Carolina took advantage.
Yeah, and write this one down, John. Momentum, when you talk, momentum doesn't just happen. Momentum is a series of little moments that get put together back to back to back to back.
Mm.
My question, Sam, being in the building, did you know, because they're known for a raucous crowd, right? They get behind their team and everything. Did it get quiet as the first period was moving along and part of the second period? Could you tell in the building a difference?
It was silent in the first period to period and a half in this building. It really was. And the reason I noticed it so much was because all I heard was about how loud this place can get. All I heard was about how the Canes fans, what do they call them? Jerks, I think, and how crazy it can get. And I was really underwhelmed by
They don't call the Canes fans jerks. They had the shirt the
jerks.
They were the bunch of jerks.
Well,
remember
there you
that.
go.
But
That's what I was thinking of. Bunch of jerks.
What's
Yeah.
that? I think it was Don Cherry. Bunch of jerks.
Well, Sam, the reason I asked you that is because that's part of being a good road team is that you're going into certain buildings, and we had them, in Chicago was one of the craziest. It was
Especially
unbelievable.
the old Chicago Stadium, yeah.
But you knew you had to weather the storm in the first 5 minutes of the game or so, but then you played a certain way to get them to kind of sit down and shut up. Like nothing was going their way. And the way that the Chicago teams would do it is it was hits. It was physical play. Pucks were going in. You're getting banged the whole time, and they got into it. And the glass at the time was kind of loud, right?
Yeah.
But that's why. So when you're playing a good road game against a team like that's a real good team, and the fans are sitting on their hands, you're playing the right way. When they're not in it and the fans aren't in it, you're doing the right things. So that's why I thought maybe they kind of got a little. You know what? Let's go get that first. And you're doing the right thing, and then he wanted to squeeze in a fancy play to get another fourth one. I got a break. I'm getting waved at. Don't say anything, Sam. I'm getting in trouble.
Up next, we'll say goodbye to Sam or let him talk more, and we'll do your super chats and regular chats if we have time here on the DLS Dallas Stars post-game show. You should become a diehard. Not only can you get great access to the writing that Sean and Sam do for the Stars, but also for all of our writers throughout the DLS company, Cowboys, Mavs, Rangers, TCU. A little bit later, we're going to have other podcasts covering things like FC Dallas and SMU, and it just keeps growing. Maybe the Dallas Wings. So go to alldls.com. QR code on the screen. Scan that. Sign up to be a diehard. With your annual subscription, you will also get a promo code for a free t-shirt. John, look at those shirts. They're fantastic. I need to get one of the Skyline ones. I really like that. I have the DLS flag one over on the far side there. That's great. They've got all sorts of team-specific colors as well. And, of course, being part of the Die Hard program gets you special perks. I believe we heard an inkling as Lads is trying to get the QR code to work. It's not working, is it?
No.
Not for your phone.
It keeps dialing in on the circular diehard thing.
You need the other part. I hear that there may be an early Black Friday special deal on merchandise only for diehards coming up in the next day or two. So if you want to do that, and details will be released when available, make sure that you sign up to be a diehard and support all of our shows here at DLLS. Okay. Sam, you're headed back to Dallas, if I'm not mistaken. Well, the team is off to Chicago. They have a practice scheduled tomorrow, according to their official schedule. That can change in a beat. But right now, they are supposed to practice at 12:30 Central Time in Chicago. Remember, they get the time change after tonight. And then they play the Blackhawks on Wednesday. They have Thanksgiving off, and then they'll host the Colorado Avalanche on Friday. And then they have to play the Winnipeg Jets on Sunday as part of a back-to-back. We had a question for you about this schedule. So you'll be here on Wednesday, so we'll do the show, all three of us. Did you notice anything about Tyler Seguin tonight? Anything that looked like he was struggling? Because remember, he missed 3 games with an injury early this season. He didn't play the second game of the back-to-back in Finland. Luddy and I talked about it earlier in tonight's postgame show. And this back-to-back coming up probably means that he's not going to play that game in Utah, would be my guess. But this is a lot of hockey for a guy that's managing something.
Yeah, I didn't really notice any. I mean, he obviously scores the goal early, which, right to Lud's point, that's a great way to silence the crowd, right? You talk about taking on water for 10 minutes. They didn't even have to do that because they scored a goal 18 seconds in. But I didn't think that he looked anything wrong. I mean, that line was fantastic, like they have been. I feel like every time they were on the ice, they were creating chances. But you're right. I think I'm gonna ask Pete about it when we get back and just say, is the plan? Because I'm wondering if the plan is simply just every back-to-back he's not going to play, or if it's based a case by case basis, or even if it's, let's say they're playing a better team on the back end of a back to back, does he not play that first game? I just am curious what the strategy is for them. But as Pete said, it seems like that injury or whatever's going on is definitely slowing him down and makes him. It's another soreness kind of thing. It seems like what we heard about.
Where they use the word recovery issues.
Yeah. So recovery issues. So just not able to get back up to speed for a game the following day. Needs that day of practice or even a day off, whatever it is, to get going. So it'll be really interesting to see, because we're gonna have a bunch of them, right? A lot of hockey coming up before that Four Nations. We're gonna see 4 games pretty much every week. We're gonna see some more back-to-backs, and we got a long West Coast road trip. So there's a lot of hockey coming up, and not only is it going to be a test of the durability, like we hope to see Niels Lundqvist come back, because otherwise we might have to see some call-ups, because they're going to need extra guys. They're not going to be able to play the same 12 and 6 this whole stretch here. They're going to have too many hockey games. So it'll be really interesting to watch with Sagan and other guys on how they kind of load manage and how they're able to play in all these games, because it's going to be a real tough test. I mean, a lot of teams are playing shortened schedules because of the Four Nations, but we know that Finland really added to that with the Stars. Obviously, the Panthers have that as well. They got to play one more game than Dallas, so a little bit less. But it'll be really interesting to watch how this team plays. Like I just said, we get to see what this team's made of. Here's another chance. A lot of hockey to play, a lot of good teams, and a lot of travel.
To send you off, did you happen to see the post-game show thumbnail that John created tonight?
I did not.
Okay, John, can you put it on the screen?
Oh.
It says, "Take on me." Get it? So Luds.
There's no way Luds gets it.
Let's walk him through this.
Not a clue.
Who's the player on the screen?
I think that's Sebastian Aho.
Oh, very good. So do you know what the...
Why is this a quiz for you guys, for me, all the time?
Well,
with this?
I just want to know if either one of you got it.
I don't know the answer either.
Sam got it. Sam's a big music guy.
The only thing I get is there's a 6 in red up there and there's a 4 in green.
No. Take on Me. Do you remember that song? It was a very popular song.
You've watched The Leftovers before. We've talked about this.
Yes, I have watched
Kevin in The Leftovers, when he goes to that hotel that's in like the underworld and he sings, they play Take On Me in the episode. Do you know what that song is?
No.
If you heard it, you'd go, oh, because everybody knows that one. Well, it's by a band.
You guys know this doesn't bother me. You can pick on me all you want.
We're not picking on you.
No, we're not picking on you. So the band is called Aha, AHA, and he did Aho. Get it? Yeah. Thank you. That's the eye roll. That whole thing was for that.
I didn't get it either, lads. Don't worry.
Really,
Thanks,
Mr.
Sam. Music
over there didn't get it?
No.
Oh,
I
by
did
the
just
way,
sing the song though. So
hey, are the super chats where they people
Bing
put
bong.
like a put in a dollar or two?
Or
Sam, the super chat money is for the folks that are going to try to get you another shirt. You go on a 4-day trip. We'd like a different shirt and a different suit jacket or something. We'll just start with a new shirt. Kroger's got them for like $14. Just outside the pot and pan.
Challenge accepted.
section.
You have to go. You have to dress
They're right
yourself.
next to the tennis shoes.
He's got to dress himself for a Stars game with Kroger clothing.
I will not do it
I
for a
even
game,
got the little
but I will do
tag
it
thing
for-
on my. You get a discount,
Yeah,
or I get gas
your
or something
Kroger
like
gas
that.
tag. Yeah.
that one. They're great shirts.
By the way, Kroger's not a sponsor, but if they'd like to.
See you, Sam.
Sam, have a great trip, safe trip home. We appreciate your time. Let's get to those super chats.
All your friends, we
boys.
can see all your friends back behind you waiting for you.
We'll save you some
Yeah,
pie.
Everyone who loves Sam, there they are.
There they are.
All right.
See you, Sam. All right. Super chats. Let's hit them.
Hold on, I got a few buttons to press before we get there.
Bing bong.
Bing bong. He's trying to get them ready. Okay. Bing bong.
Just one from Ardell tonight. Although it's
just
not-
one super
it's
chat?
Currently not. Oh, there we go. But very angsty chat. But this was the only super chat.
Okay. So this is Lundqvist
Wyatt.
and Wyatt Johnston.
I'm getting this game
See,
down.
You're starting to
down.
I like this.
getting it.
From Ardell. The sky is falling.
The sky is falling.
Not really. Bad loss, but the Six Flags fan life is not for me. I just wanted to hear the Chicken Little drop. Thanks, John. Hey, John, once more for Ardell. Thank you very much. Here, I'll do it without talking over it.
The sky is falling.
Perfect. The roller coaster emotions of a fan is tough, right? You beat Tampa, but here's the thing, lads. It kind of evens out in the end because they said, for a big chunk of the game against the Lightning, they didn't think they were the better team. Matt Duchene literally said, "I don't think we deserve to win those first two periods against Tampa."
Listen,
and now it's
roller coaster. You could be an Anaheim fan or a San Jose fan or a Pittsburgh Penguins fan. St. Louis with their new head coach. By the way, did they win tonight? It was 2-2 last I checked.
They won.
Did they? It's the coach bump.
5-2.
The coach bump.
Oh,
and you know what's going on in New York? Trade everybody. They said their big captain defenseman's on the block now, and so that's a general manager trying to scare guys.
Think there's any way for the Stars to get Jacob Trouba? Imagine him
Wouldn't
playing
that be nice?
Trouba and Miro.
Not that there's anything in the rest of these guys, but that would be very nice if you could get a guy like Jacob. They're not trading their captain.
Of course they're not.
Train wreck. That's when.
By the way, he
GMs
also has control. I think he has a no move.
Yeah, I mean, who are you trying to scare? Like that's all you're doing. I mean, players can see through this stuff right now. We're the doors are open, or it's open for business. Yeah. Okay.
So I'm going to skim through a couple of these because I noticed that John kind of, with his moderation, stoked some anti-Steve Spot talk because of the power play.
Well, I didn't stoke that. They were already talking about it, and then I just chimed in, and I was
okay,
like,
so you just observing.
The thing was, there was a lot of new faces in the chat tonight.
Which is great.
I don't know if these people already listened to the show and this was just their first time commenting or something like that, but they were all going in on Steve Spot. And so I just commented, and I was like, wow, like, I guess you are all coming together over your hatred of Steve Spot.
And I'm going to push back on this because
this is the same guy that had the best power play in the league last year.
Yeah.
Or
here's the problem. Everybody's looking for a scapegoat when the power play isn't doing well. We played Steve Spot clips a week or two ago. We played Pete DeBoer stuff. And what do they say? The same things that Luddy says they need to do. The coaches are aware of it. They coach them up. Matt Duchene, after the game against Tampa, said, "We are an extremely well-coached team." So what is it? Well, sometimes it's execution. Sometimes the players don't get it done. Sometimes one guy's having a tough night, and that affects the five-man unit. It just... Yeah, we can't keep defending Steve Spot. That's ridiculous. No, that's not the case. Steve Spot is an excellent coach. I think he's good enough to be a head coach, and he does not
I'm
the
just
reason.
going to sit back here and listen to you talk to all these people.
I'm just going to run some of these.
He's just running
and see if it gets.
I'm curious your thoughts, though, Lutz, because I think it's obscene. Remember when Kurt Frazier was coaching as an assistant for Lindy Ruff? Anytime the power play had a bad night, we got calls on a radio broadcast. Kurt Frazier's got to go. He doesn't know anything about power play. Kurt Frazier knew a thing or two about power play in his day. Steve Spot knows what he's doing. Everyone talks about, it's soft, it's on the perimeter. The first thing that Pete said when we asked about power play the other day is we need to attack first, get a retrieval, and once the penalty kill gets out of their structure, then we can get creative. Isn't that literally what we always talk about when things go stale?
See, the thing about the power play thing is there's another team out there that is trying to stop you from scoring those goals and getting nice plays. And these guys are not fourth line guys. These guys are all millionaire players, and they deserve every penny that they get. And they're the best in the business at what they do. Now, yes, there are other players in the league that may be better than a couple of these, but as a unit, they can be a dangerous unit. It's up to them. It's up to the guys on the ice. If they want to change something, they want to tweak something, they want to have a mindset that we want to shoot first and then create off of chances. Steve Spot's not going to go out there and play. So don't think that they hear what the coach says and they're not allowed to change things. They are out there. They know they're very proud guys, and they know when they're on the power play, their job is to score at least one goal a night. And when it doesn't go well, they're the first ones to look themselves in the mirror. So, and again, there have been times, I guess, when we've seen coaching changes, and sometimes they'll keep the head coach, and next thing you know, they fire a special teams coach, and you'll hear every general manager, anybody they're going to go, what is that really going to do? And it's because the guys, they're great players, and they know what they're doing, and all you're trying to do is give them some guidance here and get everybody on the same page. So, And if things go sideways sometimes, that's because they're not listening, possibly. But I wouldn't get too down on Spotter here.
We're going to carry over this for a little bit longer, but we thank everybody that will be eventually watching on the fast channels, air on the DLLS Dallas Stars post-game show. Stars lose to Carolina. Okay.
I'm so
Bring
proud
that
of you,
last
Owen.
one up.
So proud of you for doing that without
Bring
without
that
me
last
having
one
to
up.
Remind you. The one that was just up.
I don't know if I appreciate such kind of
There you go,
condescension, but I'll
Christian.
move on.
There you go.
Last year we had Pavs.
There
That's
you
a
go.
big piece to
Quit
replace.
blaming Steve Spot. There you go, right
So
there.
Ardell was on fire tonight.
Blame
in the
Joe
chats.
Pavelski. Is that what you're saying?
Don't blame Pavs.
No,
you're
he's
missing.
saying-
You're missing a key ingredient.
Go back to the Ardell's quote tweet or chat tonight here. Feces transpires quote attributed to one Craig Ludwig. Can you find that one?
I'm attempting to
Say
find it.
what? I'm looking at the chicken and the duck up there.
Yep, there's that one.
Here we go.
What does that mean?
There. Well, what do you think?
The chicken and the duck?
No, not
The chicken
this
and the
one
egg.
here.
Oh.
Things happen. What happens? S happens. This is another way of saying it. Feces transpires. He's giving you credit for that. It's funny.
Somebody wants me to say what it really means, right?
He's just testing your
Someone said,
resolve.
I forget where it was. Someone in the chat said something about like putting a lemon in their ass instead of watching that game. They said they would like rather put a lemon in their ass.
That's for another show.
So
We'll
let's
save that for the off season.
Yes.
Steady rhythms. This one's a funny one. Rod the Bod made them lift weights to Van Halen in the second intermission while he roared at them to figure it out. That I enjoyed. That's pretty funny.
I guess it worked.
Okay, Jason wrote, Owen, I know you have a standard for years. Win 75% of home games, win 50% of road games, and you're in the playoffs. Yeah, that's sort of a conventional formula. If you win 3 out of 4 at home and you go 500 on the road, you'll probably make the playoffs. That's just not a standard I'm saying you expect. I want you to be above 500 on the road.
Yeah.
But that's typically, you're going to lose some road games. It's just the nature of the beast. You're not going to go.
You're going to lose some home games too.
You're going to lose both. But you want to try to win more home games than not for 2 reasons. 1, you have the last change. 2, you have fans that pay good money.
Mm-hmm.
You need to win more than you lose because that's what they deserve.
And be entertaining. And I think Dallas and Jim Nill and his concept of the kind of team that he wants, he's trying to mesh them both together. And we've seen Jim's made tons of the right moves, right? So they are entertaining. And again, they're not running on all cylinders just yet. So is it because of a piece missing or 2 pieces? Very possibly. And sometimes it's not easy plugging those round holes with square pegs once in a while.
I'm trying to find the other one. John, I don't even know what your chat was about carrier pigeon it, but that made me laugh.
Our Tyler HK, I believe, said he's going to Chicago to go to the Blackhawks Stars game. I said to tweet us a pic, and he said he'll blue sky it to us. So I said carrier pigeon it.
Nice. We
Good
are
old-
on
good
Blue
old
Sky.
mail carrier humor.
I know that that DLLS Stars and DLLS overall both have Blue Sky accounts. I do, and Sam does. It's another version of Twitter. It's okay. I don't know if anybody's actually posting on the DLLS Blue Sky accounts yet.
I have no idea.
I've been tagging them, but yeah, I'm on both. So if you want to do that, Ardell wrote, Dallas has a chance at 28 points and a playoff position at Thanksgiving if they win against the Blackhawks in Chicago on Wednesday. I like I know there's been some talk lately that people think because of St. Louis being in last place in January in 2019 and winning the Stanley Cup, the Edmonton Oilers having a just abysmal start and then having one of the best records in hockey the rest of the way and going to the Stanley Cup final last year, that somehow takes away from the Thanksgiving benchmark. I still think it means a lot because if you're talking about, I mean, it's statistically been led about 80% Thanksgiving. If you're in a playoff spot, you make it. So what does that mean? Well, 20% can be 2, 3, 4 teams that aren't in, and it can be way down. It's hard to make up ground in this 2-point system with overtime and shootout points. It's difficult. It can happen, but when you're a quarter of the way through the season, or in horse racing, you're at the 3/4 pole, it's usually a pretty good indication of what kind of hockey team you have.
Yeah, and I think we can safely say right now St. Louis and Nashville for sure.
What do you think? I mean, St. Louis just beat the Rangers.
Come on.
Come on.
I don't know. Lonnie got a 5-year deal. Apparently he is the wizard, but they don't have a strong team. They're going to go as far as Bennington does. You know, I don't think their general manager expected that to happen either. I think he's a realist, and he sold off some people last year because he's in the I don't know, what are we calling it now? The refurb, rebuild, or what's it? What are they got some other name for it
Yeah,
now.
what is that?
Retool.
Retool.
Thank you, John.
That's what the Patriots tried to do after
Yeah,
Tom Brady
retool.
left.
How'd that work?
That's why I'm
Aren't they
familiar.
four quarterbacks beyond Tom Brady now?
Did not go well. Yeah, we're Cam Newton and a Mac Jones beyond that.
Well,
Cam
don't
Newton.
forget we had some Jacoby Brissett and Brian Hoyer mixed in there as well. But
Oh,
this
yeah.
is not a
There was a little
Patriots
bit of that.
podcast. GM Ben, how the bell? I think he meant how the hell. How the bell is Sam getting home? I ain't paying for that flight
Especially dressed like that.
with the same shirt.
Yeah. same
William
shirt, 3
W.
days.
Williams talking about AHA. They were big on MTV in the early 80s. How does Luds not know? LOL.
You don't know, like,
If we played the song for you, go, yeah, I've heard
I
that.
didn't watch MTV. I'm an outdoorsy person. I didn't sit home and watch TV.
We got a
You know
little
that?
John singing tonight, huh?
Take
And then
on
the reason why
me.
I said that Ardell was
Take
really
on
on
me.
fire in the chat because he wrote this. Sam is going to water taxi the river systems westward and home. John's blocking part of it. There he is. Is he going to get home by water taxi from Carolina to Dallas? It'd be a long way through the rivers, wouldn't it?
Tough one.
I mean, once you get to the Mississippi, you're probably good, right? That can sort of get you anywhere in the continental U.S.
Didn't
You've
do
never-
well.
you've
Didn't,
never
didn't do
rafted?
well in geography either.
You don't know where the Mississippi River is?
Luds?
Yeah.
Do you know where Mississippi is?
Yeah. No, I know. I
Let's-
mean, I know it's over here somewhere.
Okay,
Where
I
are
want you to
pointing?
find this
Over
all
there.
caps chat from Court. We
Okay.
do not want Truba. And then Ardell wrote hell no to Truba. So there's a couple of people. John's going to find it here in a second. There it is.
Okay, Court, can you type in why you don't want Truba?
Court's, by
Just-
the way, a great diehard fan.
Okay.
Absolutely great.
Yeah. I'm just
She sent
wondering.
us-
So is
I guess
Ardell.
she sent us the Jamie Benn candle
She,
that we have.
she sent us the Jamie Benn, what do you call that?
The candle?
Yes.
Okay, what does that have to do with Truba?
Well, no, it's just, no.
Oh, I'm just curious. If people don't want Truba, what is it about him?
Well, Ardell says we have Bishel coming. He actually wrote Bixel. I know what you're doing there, Ardell.
What about
Look, first of all, we're not getting Jacob Truba.
no,
he's
we're not
le-
getting
he's
him.
not
I'm
leaving
just
the New York
curious
Rangers.
why people are down on
If
Jacob
you
Truba.
could get Jacob Truba on the Dallas Stars, I would take him hands down right now. Would you not?
I'll send John to go pick him up.
I mean, I'll go pick
can,
him up
Sam can stop on his way home.
with the water
Not
taxi.
big
Yeah,
enough a
he's
Rangers
going
player.
right through New York, isn't he? From the water, from the way home,
He's got to go up to the Hudson and then
Oh,
down.
down
and,
the Mississippi.
down
I
the
would pick up. I
Mississippi.
would pick up Chris Kreider at the airport. That's a Boston College boy right there.
Okay,
and he's a
a good
net
player
front
too.
guy. He's a net front guy, right?
yep, you got it.
All right, guys, I think we've gone through the chat. So let's do our Herman Marshall marquee moment of the game. Pick up your favorite bottle at your closest goody liquor store today. What's the marquee moment?
I'm going with the Aho goal. I am
You're
because
talking about the beginning of the third period.
yeah, I think that kind of wasn't that the first of 3 goals.
It was the one that started the comeback in the third period.
Yeah, I think that was the after the talk or whatever they did in between periods to come out, score that goal, and then another one and another one. So I think he was the one that lit the match.
Okay. Man of the match for the game can be either team. Who's your best player tonight?
You know what? From how I sewered the guy, I'm going with the goaltender at the other end of the rink.
Spencer Martin. Really?
I am. He made some big saves for him.
That save on Hintz's breakaway in the third when it was
I mean he's
4-3.
You know, he kept them close. He didn't let it get away on him. You know, kept it 2-goal lead was the biggest lead Dallas had, and he made a couple big saves in there and made a couple late in the third period.
You think I'm upset about the shot tracking tonight? Spencer Martin should be upset because he was credited with only 19 shots faced. That means 15 saves of 19. That's not a very good save percentage. He was better than that indicates, but he also got hosed by a few of those shots. For me, look, I know he took a bad penalty, but Mason Marchment with another 2-point night. Tyler Seguin with 2 points. Matt Duchesne. There's a theme here with this line. We keep talking about it for a reason, but look, the penalty that Marchment took in the third, it's regrettable, but as Lud said, it's not a lack of effort. It was just a ill-advised offensive zone. He's trying to do a lot. He just got caught with the high stick. But again, that line continues to do well. And I really liked that Hintz was flying around tonight again, right? He didn't score on those, but that's a good sign if he can get going like that and keep creating.
He's been very noticeable in the last 2-3 games. Yeah, that one game we saw a couple bursts out of him, and then he's continued. But again, I think that he's comfortable now when he looks over to his right and he sees Wyatt there, that he's got that speed, and Wyatt's going to start doing the little Joe Pavelski flop or whatever it's going to be, where he can. He's a player that has to play with that speed, and I think there was a period here in the beginning of the season. He wasn't getting those pucks when he was at top speed, and he's a different player when he continues his speed, and he's got people that can either lay it to him, put it in an area, and he's more effective that way.
John, do you have a submission for man of the match?
My man of the match is Owen, because he remembered to do the 60-minute wrap-up thing, but forgot to do the Herman Marshall Markey moment outro.
I saw the
yeah, because I left it up, and if I had taken it down, you would have forgotten it because you went straight to man of the match.
I did. I was excited.
You were done.
For every bottle of single-barrel straight bourbon whiskey, Herman Marshall donates 15% of its revenue to the Guns N' Hoses Foundation of North Texas. For those who went before, stop into your closest goody-goody liquor store to find your favorite bottle. Thank you, Herman Marshall. Maybe I shouldn't ask John about man of the match again, because I got.
He's got the last say. You know what I mean? It's like
he's in control, right? No matter what I do,
he can push the
do
buttons.
it. All right, lads, we're done for tonight. We will see the Stars play the Chicago Blackhawks on Wednesday night, and I'm going to double check this because it says I'm guessing it might be a 7:30 game.
It's a TNT game, I believe.
So double checking the schedule here. Yeah, so we're on at 7 for the pregame show. 7:30, so it's a little bit later. It's not a TNT game though, John. So nice try.
Is it a national though?
TNT is on Friday.
Okay.
So this is a Victory Plus game on Wednesday night in Chicago, and then TNT Max exclusive is the 8 o'clock game. Friday, Black Friday at American Airlines. So
are they getting us ready for the West Coast games? They're getting us later and later.
Boy, and we have a nice week of well, I guess the Utah one's not too bad, but then LA and Vegas, a couple of 9 o'clock.
Why are we putting our Dell up here right now? Why are we doing this?
Because he's playing the hits. That's why.
He's just trying to get it going.
I wish somebody would show me a picture of these two. Just put it up on the screen or something like that.
I don't have pictures of early 90s cartoons at my fingertips ready to go.
Oh, I think you did show me that one time.
These
I don't
guys.
know who's who though.
Are they? They're a cat and a dog, right?
Yeah, they're not.
The one of the redhead looks like an alligator. Doesn't it?
No,
that's a crocodile.
It's a crocodile? Well,
No.
you know alligators and crocodiles are different, right? And you know why?
Neither one
I
of
don't
these
know
looks
why.
like an alligator.
You don't?
I would actually love to hear this explanation because I don't know.
One of the jaw goes up and one of the jaw goes down. Top and bottom. That's the only difference.
Huh.
See, you didn't know that.
Of course you know that, but you don't know where the Mississippi River is.
It's close to his hometown, too.
Yeah, it kind of runs right by it. I
He
think.
probably
you can
grew
wave
up
at
on it.
Yeah.
So anyway, there's Ren and Stimpy. Stars will play the Blackhawks. They have 2 games left in the month of November. Can they still hit your projection, your big take you made after the Finland trip?
I think there's 2 games left under it.
Yep.
But hey, listen, even if I only get one of them games, it's going to be set of 727. It's probably going to be around 720 or something like that. So, but if they get both games, I hit exactly on 727 percentage over this last 10 games.
The prognosticator himself, Craig
Not there
Ludwig.
yet.
So that does it for us tonight. We will be back at 7 o'clock on Wednesday. We don't have a show tomorrow because it's a holiday week. And so we only have a 4-show week. And of course, we have 4 games this week. So,
but we still have to be here, Ben.
Yes.
To partake.
Yes. And we will be participating, although Sam, because he's traveling, won't be. And Sean, because he doesn't live in Dallas, won't be either. So we'll be representing 3/5 of our show. Will be there for our company thing tomorrow. But we'll be here 7 o'clock on Wednesday, Stars and Blackhawks. We'll get you right into your Thanksgiving holiday with a fun one up at the Madhouse on Madison. Probably not quite the same as it was at Old Chicago Stadium, though.
Not even close.
For Craig Ludwig, for Sam Nestler, for John Anderson, I'm Owen Newkirk. Thanks again for joining us tonight. Final score, the Carolina Hurricanes win 6-4 over the Dallas Stars. We hope you enjoy your evening, and we'll see you Wednesday night. Until then, so long, everyone.
Whoa!